It's another weekday where you wake up and you think everything's going to go all right. You think that you're going to feel fine. You think that you're not self-sabotaging, and you think that everything is perfect. The sun is up, the puppies are playing, and your day is just going great according to you. However, inside, you know it's not, because you feel this tension, this anxiety inside that you can't really explain. And all I can say is that it feels like it's paralyzing you. As a result, you don't feel motivated to do any of your activities at home. You don't feel motivated to craft, to build jewelry, to paint, to play your drums, to play guitar, to do anything that you wanted to do before, because you've lost interest or lost sight of it because this anxiety has paralyzed you. It's not only paralyzed you from doing activities, but it's paralyzed you from thinking correctly and making sound decisions when it comes to deciding what you're going to make for dinner or just simple tasks. However, when it comes to this, you could know all the tools in the world to overcome or get through the anxiety. And you really don't even know the cause of the anxiety sometimes, but you just know that you need to function properly to get through the day. And this anxiety is suffocating you. It's almost like something attached to you that you cannot break free of. So I find it interesting because sometimes we have all these tools in our head of what we can do to cope with anxiety, but we don't necessarily know how to use them, or we can't effectively use them in that moment to get through our anxiety. And I recently did a TikTok about anxiety on my page. My TikTok name is Fawn in the Sun if you want to check it out. But what I say is that you can know breath work, you can know yoga, you can know meditation, you can know prayer, and you can truly know that God is here with you. But the only way to overcome it sometimes is to sit in silence and really think deeply, really get through the anxiety by focusing on movement, because sometimes the anxiety is stored in physical tension, and the only way to get over that anxiety is doing the movement. When I say doing the movement, today I went to yoga, fully intending to feel this anxiety afterwards, but instead I felt so pure and authentic afterwards. I felt like I had released whatever was causing this anxiety in my life. Sometimes this tension is stored within you, and you just need to move and heat and move, going for a walk, doing exercise, just any form of movement to get over the hump and realize that this tension can be stored within you. We store a lot of tension and pain and anxiety within ourselves, and as a result, sometimes we don't process it fully. And that's what yoga teaches a lot of times. However, for me, anxiety is something that's so paralyzing, so challenging at times that I feel like I've lost interest in what I would love to do before, which would be jewelry making music, or really just going on a walk with my dogs. And it's so crazy because you feel like you have all these tools in your head about what you can do to overcome these issues, but you don't necessarily know how to really access them the time that you need to access them when the anxiety is at a high level, where you're so intensely involved and succumbed by the anxiety. And anxiety, like I said, doesn't necessarily have to have a reason or a purpose. Sometimes you just wake up and you feel this anxiety in your life. And sometimes there are purposes, but they are deep within your subconscious, so you can't access them at that moment. So today I was kind of anxious because I had a presentation that I had to do, and I was anxious before that also because of other things, which I cannot really explain, to be honest. But while I was in the middle of doing it, I just prayed. I prayed that I wouldn't mess up my words. I prayed that I would find the correct words, and I put my faith aside, and I said, don't overanalyze it, because I have a tendency to overanalyze things. And I told myself, I'm just going to pray. I'm just going to give it to God, because sometimes those times where you feel so anxious and so full of this tightness that you don't know how you're going to get over it. You just have to give it to God. And I think that's the part that was missing these past few days. I was being so caught up in the moment, caught up in the chaos, caught up in knowing that I felt this way, that I forgot what other tools I had in my life that were essential to being present. And letting go of all these things and really focusing on prayer and your presence with God can really help you get through things. And for me, I really felt like this tension that I had could be maybe it could have been solved earlier, maybe it couldn't have, but I really needed to get out of the funk. And sometimes it's so hard, like I said, it's paralyzing, and all you want to do is sleep. Sometimes all you want to do is chill on the couch, but you can't move and get to the next point. And I think changing up your scenery is a huge factor in helping get over that. Sometimes you need to go for a walk, go to the park, go to the mall, meet up with people, but just knowing that sometimes the only way to save things is really praying about it and putting your intention forward. And sometimes movement is one of those ways. Moving whatever way your body calls you, especially in the sauna or steam room, you need to release those toxins in your life. These toxins don't necessarily have to be physical toxins, but they can be other things that aren't serving you that you need to let go of in your life that you will not know of until you conduct this movement in your life. And when you truly get into it and you get into the movement and you really are deep into it, because sometimes you can be doing exercise, yoga, any of that, but your mind is in another world. Your mind is not focused on that present moment. Your mind is thinking about what you're going to have for dinner tonight. And is that truly intentional? Or is that really going to help you get over the anxiety or whatever stressors you have in your life at that moment? Probably not. So I say sometimes, which I think is a huge problem for me, is letting go and realizing that you can't control everything. And again in your life, sometimes you'll come back to this because you realize that when you're getting too high strung, when you're getting too stressed, when you're getting too controlling over things in your life, it's hard. It's hard to refocus. It's hard to release control and realize that you can't control every aspect of everything. And sometimes things are the way they are because they are the way they are. And yes, you can make changes to your life for the better, but realize that there's some things that are beyond your control. And I think anxiety shows you that if you stress enough about things, you get anxious. You start worrying about the unknown. Things that are beyond what we could possibly know sometimes, and things that you don't control. And I think setting a good intention and prayer in everything that you do really makes a difference. And knowing that I'm going to be intentional with what I buy. I'm going to be intentional with what I eat. I'm going to be intentional with what I do with my life. I'm going to be intentional with everything because, especially when it comes to diet and healthy lifestyle, if you're not intentional and pure with your food choices or your health choices, they will have negative effects on you. Your food and health choices make such a huge difference on how you feel and how you act. And sometimes you need to cleanse yourself to get rid of those toxins in your life or your body or your mind. And, anxiety, who knows? Sometimes we don't really know the root of it, but we know we can take necessary steps to help cleanse the soul, to feel better and to feel more present and to release some of that anxiety from our life. So making those essential steps over time, you can feel better. And when you start to feel a certain way, you can know the necessary steps and the tools to use. Yes, sometimes it is you're high in anxiety by the time you think of those tools, or by the time you're like, I'm going to act on this anxiety feeling, this anxiousness. And sometimes when you decide that you're ready to act on it, you have already suppressed the fact that anxiety is so tense in your life. You're so caught up, and your reaction to everybody else in the world is so negative because you waited so long. But that's not the end of the world.
You always can reground yourself. You can always reset yourself, and you can always change how you're going to react to things. So don't let that serve who you are or be who you are, define you. Your anxiety does not define you. It does not explain who you are. And at the end of the day, what matters is that you are present for yourself. You have let go of this, and you are kind to yourself. You know that if you made a mistake, if you did something wrong, there are so many different ways to treat or factor in and help yourself, to reground yourself, to reset yourself. Everybody needs resetting. Nobody is perfect in this world where they don't need to take a step back and get back on track. People fall off the horse all the time, and I'm not perfect. I feel like lately what might have been contributing to my anxiety was doing a kitchen renovation, and I was not focused on eating the right things that my body needed, eating too many carbs, eating too many processed items maybe, or throwing in processed items when my body isn't even used to it. And I'm a pretty clean eater, but be mindful of these things. All these things add up in your life to make you feel a certain way or have a certain reaction. So don't let anxiety define you. And know that we all get to that point, some point, where we feel like we're so paralyzed that we can't get over. Simple tasks are hard, and we cannot really focus on what's essential. And focusing on what's essential in our life requires releasing what doesn't serve us. Sometimes there's past things in our life that come up, but if you don't push that aside and remind yourself, this moment or this memory does not serve me, and it is in the past. The past is the past for a reason. And to move on in our life, we must leave the past in the past, and we must be present with ourselves. We must be fully 100% here right now. Or how can we give back to our children? How can we give back to our spouse if we are living in the past? If we are living on something that happened before we met that person, how can we be truly present? We cannot. We cannot enjoy the present moment if we are focused on the negativity, on, once again, what doesn't serve us. And when we really rely on the past, we can't be there. We can't be that person that we want to be in the present moment. Because everything that happened in the past has defined who we are today. That's not saying that you're changing the past, but that means that you are who you are because of the past. So as a result, the past has created you this wonderful person today. But don't bring the past into the future. Don't bring the past into the present. And all of this relates to anxiety, because anxiety makes you worry about what could or what was or what has. And anxiety is such a present moment robber. It takes away from the serene moment, from the ability to be fully present with the person, the family, the people that you're with. And it also makes you ruin the fact that you can truly be living outside of this feeling. And I get it, we all experience it from now and then, but don't let it consume you. Don't let it make you feel like you can't change it, you can't get over it, because you can. You have 100% control over how you feel, the changes you make, and the ability you have to grow in your life. So don't let anxiety define you or make you who you are, because it's not you.